Hey everybody, Mr. Regan here. And up to this point, hopefully we're feeling comfortable with reading an evolutionary tree, along with identifying how different common ancestors have shared body structures with their descendant species. We looked at that within this first diagram here in task 3, but now we're going to look at a much more complex version, and we're going to be diving into our simulator to do an activity where we kind of have to do a scavenger hunt looking for unique organisms that have shared body structures. So at the end of this video, we're looking to make sure that we understand how to find organisms with shared body structures within our sims, and then how to complete the next task, which is going to be our scavenger hunt in our sim. So the diagram we looked at here of this evolutionary tree is actually one very, very small piece of the overall tree of life. The tree of life that you see here is a bunch of connected branches that show how all organisms from the beginning of time till now are connected through common ancestors and those shared body structures. And when we zoom in on this diagram, we see that the one little tiny branch that we're looking at was maybe one small branch somewhere within this part here. But the reality is we need to look at how all organisms have shared body structures and common ancestors, and we're going to do that using our sim. The simulator doesn't focus on one tiny little branch, but it focuses on some groups of branches that are all connected within the tree of life that allow us to see whose common ancestor is who and then who's related to who. So let's take a look at how the sim represents this big tree of life. So when we dive into the simulator and we go to the tree tab here, we see a few different things. Number one, we see the very beginning of our tree. And then down here in the pop-up window are all the different branches that are connected. So if I look at this set of branches here, they're all connected. And then it connects the very bottom branch to this new group of animals. And when I click on that, you'll notice it zooms out, but that connection is still there. And I can do that with the next group and so on. I can also navigate to the next group by clicking on the pop-up window at the bottom, which will take me there as well. And each one of these set of branches, if you notice, is all connected, showing that they all have some shared set of traits and body structures that allows them to all have a shared common ancestor. So when we look at one unique group, let's maybe look at the animals here. We're able to see that these organisms have a shared ancestor, all beginning here. And this shared ancestor has a set of traits that every single one of these organisms underneath it have in common. And some of these some of these common ancestors have this little eye feature here. And this little eye feature can help you figure out what trait all the organisms underneath it have in common. So when I click on this little eye here, you'll see that they have this this set of nerves, tissue and nerve cells, that is shared amongst all these organisms here. So we know this common ancestor shares the trait of tissue and nerve cells with the jellyfish, the mollusk, and so on. Every single one of them has that same trait. And we can use these eyes to figure out not only what these organisms have, but we can go to another common ancestor like the one we see here. And this common ancestor has this trait along with everything underneath it, but we know the ones above it don't. So everything underneath here has muscles, and they have the same, and they look the same on the left and right side of their bodies, but the jellyfish, doesn't have this trait. So remember, this shared trait is shared amongst everything underneath them in the tree, but not everything above them in the tree. So that's how we go about finding the shared structures that different organisms within our tree have. So let's take a look at how we're going to do a little scavenger hunt in our Amplify page looking at this. So we're going to be doing an activity called Tracing Shared Body Structures. And the first thing you're going to do is figure out which body structure you want to find. And you're going to need to find that body structure that's shared by different organisms within the tree. So let's say you want to find jaws and figure out which organisms have this shared body structure. You're going to follow the do list, which is going to take you into the sim, and you're going to find all the different eye icons and all the different tree branches and find the one that has, jaws in it. And once you find the eye that has the jaws in it, you're going to come down here and you're going to answer questions about what organisms have that shared body structure. So you're going to have to really look for it, find it, that kind of stuff. And once you do, you'll identify 2 species that have that shared body structure that you explored. And then when you do that, we're going to do a little drag and drop activity to help us to connect some big ideas here with what we're looking at. So you're going to have to identify who has what shared structures, and then you're going to be dragging and dropping these important sentence fillers here to help fill in the actual paragraph here. Now remember, I'm obviously putting in the wrong answers, but you'll need to figure out and double check, okay, does this word help to connect and create a sentence that helps explain, okay, what organisms have different shared structures? When you're done finding the organism, answering the question, and filling this out, you'll hit save and continue, and you'll go from there. So, folks, at this point, you need to ask yourself, do you understand how to find the organisms with shared body structures? And do we know how to complete the next task? The answer is yes. Put your X there. If you put your X in any of the other ones, check in. Otherwise,